will look into the details about the life cycle of a little modified moss, and that is Funaria. The main gameto or the actual size of this organism is around 1 to 3 centimeters, and this organism, if we think about the entire structure, it has a main plant body, presence of root-like rhizoids are there, but these are not well-developed roots because they lack the presence of xylem and phloem. So first thing about the roots is lack the presence of. Second thing is these all rhizoids, they are multicellular, and because they are multicellular, they have the presence of the septum. Suppose this is the entire structure. Normally what happens, the cells, they are divided in a parallel condition, but here the cells are divided obliquely. So oblique division of the septum is there for the rhizoids. So obliquely. The main plant body has arrangement or phyllotaxy somewhat similar to circulate type, where the leaves or leaf-like structures, they are present in the stem surface in this arrangement. This is a floral kind of arrangement which you can think of the leaves, and this entire plant body is known as caudal plant body. And it means that it is just a stem-like structure, but not exactly stem. Uh, and this one more thing about the bryophytes, we are aware that their main plant body, which is dominant, is the gametophytic stage. So predominant stage is the gametophyte. Haploid stage is the main dominant stage, and it has leaf axis, and this shows the radial symmetry. The axis may be branched or unbranched. Branching is extra-axillary at times, which means that the branches arise below the leaf, and the way it is arising below the leaves, and they have lobes. These leaf-like lobes which are present, these are simple, they are sessile, and usually they are distinct and non-vascular. The midrib is non-vascular because there is absence of xylem, and because of absence of xylem we see that the arrangement of the leaves is throughout the main plant gametophytic body. The internal arrangement of the axis possesses a primitive conducting strand, and this conducting strand is not as specialized as the xylem, and they also have it also has a presence of peripheral cortex. So if I want to write about it, that how is the water conducted, it is conducted by a primitive conducting strand. Why primitive conducting strand? Because it is not a well developed plant, and that's why the complex tissues, they have not yet developed in this plant. One more important thing about this entire plant body is when it is growing up, the gametophyte, it has two stages. One is a juvenile stage while it is growing, and next one is a mature stage. So the juvenile stage, when we talk about, or for the same gametophyte, if I say, this juvenile stage is somewhat similar to the primitive type, or you can say less developed kind, whereas the mature ones bear the sex organs. So let's see how what kind of sex organs do they bear. If I think about the same plant body, suppose there is arrangement of leaf-like structures throughout, and this is for the case of Funaria, we have different plant body which bears the male and female sex organ. Suppose this plant body has suddenly matured and it is a male plant body. it will be containing the antheridia, whereas the female plant body will contain the. And I was saying that this is the gametophytic plant body. Now, from the same gametophytic plant body, if the plant has to develop its sex organs, another plant body or a sporophyte or another plant, I should rather say male gamete, it will arise and it will be giving rise to the structure which may be antheridia or archegonia. Suppose it is archegonia. Whenever we think about that fertilization has to occur, at that time only the female part, that is the archegonia, it develops into the capsule. Capsule is a structure which has outer thick covering, and this capsule has this entire stem which is known as seta. The female branches, it contains these or the mature female branches after fertilization, they have the presence of this capsule, and capsule bears the spores. After the process of meiosis, the presence of spores is taking, or spores is there within the capsule, and after a certain period of time we see that the capsule will break off and it will release all the cells. And the sporophyte is, this entire structure is known as a sporophyte. It is as because these all cells, they will be 2n in number. The sporophyte is usually differentiated into foot, this structure, seta, and the capsule. The capsule has several layers, and each of the layer or each of the layered wall will have the presence of stomata on its epidermis. The capsule usually has a peristome which helps in the spore dispersal, and the haploid spores which germinate to form this juvenile stage, it is represented by filamentous discoidal structure. Suppose this is the structure, or suppose I will just label it as soil. So the rhizoid will be over here, and the entire plant body will be growing parallel to the surface of the soil. And this is a peristome or vegetative plant body. Peritonema, I should rather say. Vegetative plant body. The juvenile protonemal stage, it is represented by a filamentous or discoidal structure which gives rise to erect gametophores. And these protonema of certain mosses are also luminant. Luminance, luminescence is also shown by them. You will see that there is extrusion of light from their body. So this is a small structure by which we have, or a small representation by which we understood the entire gametophytic and sporophytic plant body. Generally, the plant has gametophytic plant body, but as soon as there is formation of, or there is a chance of presence of this sporophyte, there will be a female plant or female portion of the plant growing. As the female antheridium, I should say archegonium, has been formed, it gets fertilized by the motile spores of the antheridium, and here the medium of movement of spores is water. So water is a very important source for movement of motile spores, sperm cells, and these sperm cells are basically the antheridial cells.